Guys, I understand that some of you are switching to this new platform called TradingView because Thinkorswim might not be accessible to you at the moment, right? So for me, I have been using TradingView for some time already. So I would like to actually cover some of the essential features about TradingView so that you will have a smooth transition, right, in terms of using this new platform to do your stock trading and apply whatever you've learned in class. Right. So the first thing when it comes to TradingView is that this is actually a service which comes with different tiers of subscription. Right. Of course, there is a free version of it, but when you want to trade it professionally, apply what we have covered in class, the free version is not enough. Right. So as you can see at the moment, I am using the highest tier, but you don't necessarily need to go for this tier. Right. So there are other two tiers. I find that actually both tiers are okay, right? So the difference is laying down over here, which, the lowest tier will have a fewer indicators per chart, right? 5 indicators, right? But if you do the calculation in terms of the indicators that we use, for example, the one that use most of the indicators is actually, I would say, our daily charts, whereby we will have 3 moving averages, right? Which is 3, and we will have 1 volume. So that's 4. So which means 5 is actually enough, right? For example, for your 2-minute charts, you only need 1 VWAP. You will need a 9 EMA, that's 2, and you will need a volume, that's 3. So in fact, 5 indicators per chart is more than enough for us, right? If in terms of what we have covered, right? But another thing about this is that you only have 2 charts in one layout, right? So this might not be enough, whereby this one have 4 charts, then the higher tier has 8 charts. But later I will show you a trick so that, even though you can only have 2 charts, but it will be more than enough for you to, in fact, have multiple charts in one screen, right? So later I will show you how to do that, all right? So regardless of whether it's this tier or this tier, I find that both is fine, right? So you can choose whichever that you find is applicable to you, right? Apart from this, you still need to, go for one more subscription. And this subscription is the real-time data. So let me show you this. All right, so what you are seeing here, this is, my TradingView account. All right, so by the way, this one is not the website version. So what you need to do is when you go to the TradingView, right, you need to download the desktop version of the TradingView. I'm not going to teach you those very, very basic things because you can easily Google TradingView desktop and then you can download that. Or there are many other basic things you can, Google on YouTube or, YouTube or Google, you can find it out. So, but what I want to show you in this short video is those essential features that is relevant to our course, right, to whatever you learn, so that you know exactly how to set things up, right? Okay, so this is the desktop version of TradingView, as you can see over here. Right, this is the desktop version, and once you open that, right, you will see a screen like this. So what do I mean by just now? There is one more subscription that you need to do. Right, so if I go to my account billing, right, you can see not only do I have the annual plan, I also have a real-time data, right, which is the market data. With this, then everything that is displayed on the chart is in real time. You can see that the amount I pay is about $10 per month. I've been basically paying it every month, right? So this is, I would say, a pretty decent investment to get things in real time. Else, you won't be able to even do day trading if you don't even have things in real time, right? So this is definitely an investment that we should, put into our stock trading business, right? So that is in terms of the subscription, which are the tiers, what are the things that you should include in your TradingView. All right, so now coming back to the chart. Now let's talk about how do we set up the charts, right? So now you see, so what you see over here is one chart in one layout, right? One chart in one layout. When you click on this square over here, right? Follow my mouse. When you click on this square over here, you can see that there are different options, right? There are different options. You can have one chart, one layout. You can have, 2 charts in one layout. You can have 3 charts in one layout, right? So depending on which tier you are going for, then you will be eligible for the different tiers, right? So now I'm going to show you based on what I am, using for my chart setting so that you can follow, right? So this is what I'm using. Like, for example, when it comes to, day trading, all right, day trading, this is what I'm using. I'm using this 4x4. So when you click on that, right, initially it was this one chart in one layout. But if you go to 4, which means 4 charts in one layout, you click on this, right? Click on this, you have 2 by 2 charting. So you will have 4 charts in one layout. All right. So now let's just stick to this. Later I will show you, what is the trick, right? So 4 charts in one layout. Then the next thing is you need to make sure that you click on this one more time. Click on this one more time. All right. Notice that over here, sync in layout. Now currently this is off. So when this is off, right? When this is off, what will happen? Let's say I want to, go for different stickers. Let's say I want to see what is the chart for, say, SPY, right? So how do you go to the new symbol? You just type on your keyboard SPY. When you type, it will appear here, right? But you can see that this window currently is selected. The top left corner one is selected. So when you type SPY, when you hit enter, you can see that only this screen, right? This screen, the symbol is updated SPY, but the rest of them remains unchanged, right? Why? Because, let's come back over here, it's because the symbol in layout, right? The symbol is off, right? So now watch this. If you switch it on, which you should switch it on for your setup, right? So switch it on, turn it on, and now you see the moment when I turn it on, when I switch it on, you can see the rest of the charts. Just now it was a different ticker symbol. Now all change to SPY. Let's say now we want to, check what is the price, what is the chart for, say, Apple, right? So we type on our keyboard, AAPL, right? We type Apple, we hit enter. You can see that all 4 charts now change, in sync, right? They are now in sync. So this is the first thing that you need to do to make sure that for the setting, right, you on this. You also need to on this, right, crosshair function, right? Because let's say if I switch it off, if I want to analyze, for example, the one that I'm currently looking at, right, the rest of the screen, we don't see anything. But the moment I switch it on, right, the crosshair function, you have to turn it on as well. You can see that there is actually a cross in all 4 windows, right? When I move here, I know exactly where is the location here, right? So switch it on for the crosshair function. So that is for this one, right? So that is for the basic setting for the layout. Now, when it comes to day trading, this is what I will do for my chart. This screen over here, right? I will make it a daily chart. So what you need to do is, there are 2 ways you can do that. You can click here, right? You can click here to change it to a daily chart, right? This is one way. You can also, right, just type, type 1D. When you type 1D, notice that this one actually becomes 1 day. So type 1D, you can also go to daily chart. Or let's say change it to weekly chart, which you can type 1W. You can see over here, change to 1 week. So type 1W, hit enter, it goes to 1 week, a weekly chart. So if I want to switch to daily chart, it's very simple. You just type 1D, all right? And now you go to daily chart. So that's what you can do. So you can do the same thing for this. So for me, I will set this as a 5-minute chart. So how do you do? First, you select this window. You will see that this one is highlighted in blue, right? You select, you key in 5. When you key in 5, we can see this one becomes 5 minutes. And then you hit enter, we can see this one becomes a 5 minute. All right. Now, same thing for this one, I will make it a 60 minute. So I type 60. You can see this one becomes 1 hour. You hit enter, and it becomes a 60-minute chart. You can see over here, this one is 1 hour. Right? You can see the time frame, 5 minutes, 1 day. So what is this one? This one for me, I prefer to use 2 minutes. But for some of you, I understand you are using 3 minutes. That's fine. Just set it to the time frame that you want. All right. So for me, I will set it as 2 minutes. So you can see that, okay, now it changed to 2 minutes, right? Once you do that, don't forget to save your layout, right? So you can actually, click on save, right? If you don't like the name, which currently is called unnamed, right? So what you can do is you can click on this arrow over here, click on rename, right? Click on rename. So like, for example, I can name it as a daily chart, right? Daily chart, day demo, all right, demo. Yeah, and then click on save. You can see the name is changed, right? So you can see the layout is saved. You can see I have multiple names of the layout, right? I have more than that. When the one you want to choose is not there, you click on load more layout, right? And then you will see all the layouts that you have. And then when you want to go to a specific one, you just click on that. And then we will go to this one, which is the one just now we created, which is the day chart demo. All right. So that is for this. So the next thing is, all right, next thing is, now for some of you, when you are showing your screen, right, you might notice that whatever is appearing here is, instead of it showing AAPL, is actually the complete name or the description of the company. So how can you change that? Because we want to keep our chart as simple as possible, right? What is important is for example, the price, and also what is the ticker symbol. But the full description of the name doesn't really matter, because we don't really care about what company it is, right? We trade on any stock when it comes to day trading. So what you can do is you can right click, right? Right click and then go to settings, right? So what you do is you select the window that you want to adjust, you right click, go to settings, and so you can see over here under status line, right? Under status line, the second option type, the title currently is select as ticker. I want you to observe the moment you change it to description, right? Say description, and if you click on OK, okay, okay, so that is weird, or maybe that's okay, hang on, by right. That's interesting. Oh, okay, because it is Apple, right? So the change is very tiny, so I don't see. But okay, maybe I change it to a name, something, any name that, okay, Lulu, right? The name is very long, right? So that you can see. Okay, so same thing, you right click, right? Go to settings, and same thing over here. So if you click on description, right? And then did you notice that this thing changed to Lululemon, the full name? And if you change to ticker, you can see that it becomes very simple, right? You can also select ticker and description, what is a very long name, right? So for me, I prefer things to be very simple. So I will only display the ticker. I will also uncheck the logo, because I don't need to know what is the logo when it comes to trading. I want my chart, I want the candlestick to stand out rather than other, non-useful information. So for me, I'll uncheck this. And for the title, I will choose ticker, all right? And then apply to all. And you can see that all the rest of them, the charts, the logo is gone, right? So that is one thing you can do for this one, right? Now, the next thing you should do is, okay, right click and go back to the settings again, right? So if you want to change, say, the chart, the color and everything, you see, you can click on that and you can adjust. So for me, I prefer to use a white screen, right? But if you prefer a black one, you can do that as well. You can even, right? So you can even adjust, for example, the text lines, the size, and also, the other things, right? So you can even adjust, I think you can, candlesticks. Yeah, so you can even adjust the color of the candlestick over here. You can even change the candlestick into blue or purple, whatever you prefer. Right, so these are the places where you want to, if you want to adjust the appearance of the chart, you can adjust it here. Just change the color accordingly, right? And also, in terms of the canvas, you can actually, canvas is right here. So you can adjust this to change the background of it to either blue or either dark, black, or just let it stay as white. So these are the places where you can do some minor adjustment to the appearance. All right. Now, next thing, important thing is, so how do we add the indicators? All right. So you can see that over here, this is indicators. So you click on that. So I will use, probably I will use these 2 mini charts as a demonstration, because some of you might ask, how to add a VWAP, right? So I will use this chart as an example to show you how can you add indicators. All right. So now, currently there is a volume over here. So I will just, okay. So you can see that at the moment there is a volume over here. So I'll just cross it and I will show you from the scratch how you can actually add the indicator. So we will set up the 2 mini charts together, right? So first thing is to select this chart over here. Select this chart and then go to indicators. Click on the indicators over here. All right. Type the indicators that you want. So the first indicators we want is volume. All right. So we just type volume. Right? You don't need to type the full name. You just type a few letters. When you see whatever you want appears, you click on that. So when you click on that, right, you can see that the volume appears here. Just now it wasn't there. So that is the volume. Now, what else do we need? We also need moving average, right? We need the exponential moving average. So you can just type expo, then you click on this. You can see that exponential moving average is added over here, right? So what else do we need? We need, VWAP. So you type VWAP, all right? You can see that VWAP is here. Click on VWAP, right? VWAP is here. So once you have all the indicators here, the next thing is to adjust the indicators, right? So I will first adjust the VWAP because now it's like, so okay, let me enlarge the screen first so that you guys can see clearly. How do you enlarge the screen? So what you can do is you can, if you're using a Mac, right, you can actually, press Option and press Enter at the same time. Press Option and press Enter at the same time. So how do you know what are the hotkeys that you can actually apply to your chart so you can, navigate things fast? So what you can do, right, is to, go to click on your profile, all right, and go to keyboard shortcuts. So because some of you might be using a Windows, right? So and then you can click on all those. Then you can actually see what are the things for you to press in order to have the shortcut. So this one I leave it to you to find it out. Right now, let's come back to the setting of the 2-minute chart. First thing, let's adjust the settings of the VWAP properly because currently it's like, oh, what is this? Right, it's blocking my charts. I don't like this. So what you can do is you mouse over to the VWAP. All right, you will see the moment you mouse over, you will see that all those options will appear, like the settings. Like initially was not there, and now it's there. So click on this, the gear button. Click on the settings. All right, click on this, and then the first thing is you go to the slide, the style. Right, go click on style. You only need VWAP. You don't need the upper band. You don't need the lower band. Right, so just uncheck all of those. Uncheck all of those. Right, you also don't need these areas to be filled. So you also, uncheck this. Right, so you can see. Then you choose the VWAP to the color that you prefer. For me, I prefer purple, so I'll just use purple. All right. Now, depending on your preference, if you find this one is too thin, you can actually make it thicker. So how do you do that? All right. So you can click on this. Okay. By the way, you can click on this to. I just stick it with a line, or I don't use the rest of it. All right. So you can go to visibilities. No, not this one. Sorry. Hang on. It should be. It's here. Right. So you click on this. Click on this. If you find it the line, right, is too thin, what you can do is you can just click on the rest of them, right, to make it thicker and thicker. You can also adjust the, the opacity of this so that it's more visible or it's less visible. It's based on your personal preference, right? So for me, I'll just leave it somewhere here and I'll choose the second option. So it's not too thin, but it's also not too thick, right? Once that is done, you click on OK. So you can see that the line for the VWAP is set. All right, so that's for VWAP. Now you can, okay, just now you see over here the visibility, right? So for VWAP, I only want the VWAP to show, in anything less than 5 minutes. Because if I'm looking at an hourly chart, I don't want the VWAP to appear, right? It's like I don't need that information. So I will just uncheck all of them, right? So this is how powerful, the TradingView can be. Is that so long the minutes is, by the way, this one, right? This 1 minute, yeah. So long the minutes is in terms of this range, the VWAP will appear. But you see, if the moment I toggle it to 60-minute chart, the VWAP will disappear. You will auto off. You can see this is off. So that's how powerful, TradingView can be, right? So let's go back to the 2-minute chart, right, over here. Now, so we have set up the VWAP. Now, the next thing is we need to adjust the value of 9 EMA, right? So when it comes to 2-minute charts, what is the 9 EMA that we need? We need the 9 EMA to, what am I asking? What is the exponential moving average that we need? Is the 9 EMA, right? So in this case, the length is exactly what we want, right? So we keep it as 9. But in the event that, for example, when you're setting up your daily chart, we need a 21 9 EMA. So you can just change the length to 21, right? But for now, we only need 9, which is giving us exactly 9. So we keep it as it is. All right, now style over here. So if you want to adjust the appearance, you click on the style, right? And then you can change the color to the color that you like. For me, I prefer this color for my 9 EMA. And also I'll choose it as the second one. So it's not too thin, it's not too thick, right? And once it is set, I click on OK. So you can see that, okay, now the 9 EMA is set, right? Now the 9 EMA is set. Now the next thing is volume, right? There isn't much thing that you need to do for the volume, but for me, I prefer to, shift the volume, like separate the volume from the chart, right? So what do I mean by that? You can see that, for example, over here, let me enlarge. You can see that if you don't separate the volume from the chart, you can see there's an overlap between the volume and the candlesticks, which is something that I don't like to see. I would like things to be clean. So how do you separate them? you can mouse over to the volume, all right? And then you right click, okay? Hang on. Okay, it's here. Now, mouse over to the volume until you see these options over here, right? So you click on settings, not settings. All right, you click on the three dot. It's a three dot, all right? So click on the three dot and you see that this option, move to, right? So I want to shift the volume, the indicator to below the chart. So I chose this one, new pane below. So I want you to observe what happens to the chart. So click on this, all right? You can see that now this two is separate. It's separate by this line over here. All right, it's separate by this line over here. So I will no longer face the issue whereby there is an overlap between the volume and the charts. Right? So that's it. It's done. It's set. So you can do the same for the rest of the charts. Right? So how do you enable pre-market value? Right? Because now what you see, even though we are looking at the 2-minute charts, but we don't see any pre-market. We don't see any pre-market information there. So you see at the the bottom right corner, there's this thing over here, RTH. RTH stands for, as you can read from here, regular trading hours, right? So usually for 2-minute, I will leave it as it is. However, as say 5-minute chart, now I would like to let you have the pre-market information. Right, so what I will do is, so I will enable the pre-market information for my 5-minute chart. So I will select the window and I'll come here. I'll click on this. When you click on this, you will see there are two options. I will choose the second one, which is the extended trading hours. And the moment I click on that, you can see pre-market information. So the blue line is the post-market, right? The orange line, the yellow line is the pre-market. So you can see that it currently appears. That's how you own it. It's very simple. Now, the next thing you should double check is the time zone, right? So you can see that I set the time zone as the same as the New York time, because then the market will always open at 9:30 a.m. to keep things simple. So that is my preference. I will encourage you to do the same as well, so that because if you are trading the US market, then we better follow the time of the New York time, so that market always open at 9:30, right? It's not confusing at all, especially when it comes to your own chart review, right? So over here, make sure that you click on the time zone and you choose New York time, so that when you see the chart, right, you can see that the market always open at 9:30. And all the time here, this is not the time of your country, right? It's not, for example, for me, it's not Singapore time. It's the US time, right? 9:30 a.m. So that will keep things simple, right? Now, the next thing is, when you look at this thing over here, right, you see that this one is like kind of overlapping with the charts. It's very annoying. So you see there's an arrow here. You can click on that. It disappears, right? It disappears. So that is how you can, let your chart become very clean. Now, there's one more tip I want to show you. So I want you to right-click your chart, right? And go back to the settings. Now, sometimes you might notice that, the screen might be, be too close to the numbers over here. You want to shift it down. You want to shift it down so that, everything is clean. So how you can do that is, right, you can see that, go to the canvas, because this is about the adjustment of the appearance of the canvas. So you can go to canvas, you can see that there's an option over here called margins, right? So you can give it more margin. So let's say I go to extreme, I click on 50. You can see this thing is kind of shifting down, right? Let's say it auto change to 25. So probably there is a cap to that, right? So you can see that if let's say I use 10, this one is moving up, right? Which I don't want it to be the case. I want this thing to kind of have more space to the top line. So I think 25 is pretty decent. So I'll use 25, right? You can see this whole thing is shifting down. So it becomes very clean, all right? And then you can also over here, right? The bottom, you can leave it as default, right? The right, I prefer to, let it be 10 bars to the right. So that, like, for example, when the market opens, right, you can see that this one is got some distance to the right. So I prefer to keep it as 10, or you can keep it as a number that you find that, the appearance is convenient to you, right? So everybody has a different preference on how the chart is supposed to look like. So you can adjust it here so that you feel comfortable about the chartings, right? Once that is done, you can click on apply to all. Now, did you realize that the moment I click on apply to all, my pre-market chart disappears? Why? Because when you click on apply to all, right, the settings, including the pre-market regular market, right, will apply to all the charts. So all the rest of the charts will follow the settings of this chart. So when you see that happens, don't fret, just select the chart again, just click on this again. Then you see the pre-market appears again. All right. So that is how you can, add the indicators and then, set up the charts, right? So the next indicators is the moving average. What you can do, you go to the daily chart, click on this, you just type moving average, right? So for daily chart, we'll use a simple moving average, which is this one, moving average symbol. You click on that, right? When you click on that, you will see that it is here, right? And then you click on this, adjust the length, for example, 200. And you can adjust the color, say choose as black. You can see down this is black and make it thicker, and then click OK. So that is done. All right. So that's how you add a moving average, a simple moving average, right? So with that, you can do the settings for the adding the indicators for the rest of the charts. All right. Now there are some other additional functions over here, which is the drawing pen. You can play around with that. I won't go into details of that. All right. Now the next thing is I want you to focus at this portion over here. So this is the portion where you will have your watch list, right? So you can see that you can actually create a watch list by giving a name. So let me do a sample, right? So let's say if you want to create a watch list for day trades, like for example, I have a watch list, which the name is called day trade watch list, right? So what you can do is you can click on this and click on create watch list, right? Create a watch list. And for example, I put it as a demo, right? Demo. You can name it as a day trade watch list, right? So I'll name it as demo. And then you can see that, okay, now I have a new watch list, right? So if you take a look at the watch list over here, you can see that my watch list has 4 components in total. I have indices, which let me see the price of SPY and QQQ. I have 1 tab for the open positions. If there is any, I will shift it over here, right? I have 1 tab, which is for the short watch. 1 tab is for the long watch, right? So how do you do that? Let's go back to the one just now we created, which is the demo watch list, all right? So how do you create what we call sections, right? So you can click on this 3 dot over here, settings. You can see that there's an option called add sections, all right? So click on that and also go do that again, right? Click on that. You can see you can create multiple sections. Do that again. So basically you will need a total of 4 sections, right? Once you have all the 4 sections, then you can give it a name. So what you can do is that you can go here, mouse over there, right click on rename. All right. So for example, you can call it key indices, right? That's it. All right. So for this one, for example, you can call it open positions. For example, this one you can call it long watch, and this one you call it short watch. All right. All right. So now you have all the watches. So how do you add the symbols to the watches? Right. So for example, let's add SPY and QQQ to the key indices. So remember, how do we go to a typical symbol? What you will do is you will type SPY. So type SPY. You just type, right? Without selecting anything. Type SPY, hit enter. You can see because all the charts are now in sync. So you will see all the charts is changing. So now we need to add the SPY to this. All right. So how do you do that? If you are using Mac, what you can do is you can actually type Command W, right? Type sorry, not Command W, type Option W. Option W, you can see automatically is adding here. Let me do that one more time. So you can just press Option W and it's added here. So what if you are using Windows, right? Again, I think Windows is alternate W, alternate plus W, but how to confirm? Same thing, you go here, right click on your profile, click on the keyboard shortcuts, and go to charts, right? And then scroll all the way down, look for this thing called add symbol to the watch list, and see what is the command over here. If I remember correctly, is alternate plus W, so you can press accordingly. So that is how you can add, right? Very fast. Alternatively, you can also come here. You see the plus symbol here. You click on that. For example, we need to add QQQ. You type QQQ, and you hit enter. You can see QQQ appear here. All right. So these are 2 ways, but I prefer to use the shortcut, so it's faster. But you can see that, okay, yes, we have added, right, SPY and QQQ. But when you add, you always, appear at the bottom of it. So you can just shift it up. You can shift it up. You can even, move around the sections, right? You can shift it. It's very flexible. Right? This one is very easy to use. So now we have added indices, right? You can do the same for the, the long watches. right? For example, if you want to do adding for the long watches, what I'll do is when I do the scanning. So now let's move on to the scanning portion, right? So when I do the scanning, how do I do that, right? So okay, so when you do the scanning, you will set up your chart in a different way, but that one I won't go into the details because you know exactly how I will set up the charts, and now you know how you can arrange your layouts, so you can just follow accordingly. All right. So how do you scan when you are using TradingView? You see at the bottom there is something called the stock screener over here, right? So click on this arrow so that this thing kind of move up, right? This thing kind of move up. If you want to, you can actually link up your TradingView, by the way. So this is I tried a little bit. If you want to, you can link up your TradingView to the brokers. These are the available brokers that you can link it up with, so that the orders is kind of you appear. You can place the order through TradingView, and because it's a link to, for example, interactive brokers. For me, I prefer not to link anything, so I prefer to keep things separate. I am using actually an API for the interactive brokers, so that I can actually place the order in a much faster way. So I actually don't need to place order through TradingView. But if you want to, you have the option to link it up. Now let's go to the stock screener to see how you can build up your watches to do the scanning. All right, so click on the stock scanner. All right, so what do we need when it comes to scanning the stocks? We need basically two things, right? We need the pre-market percentage change. We need also the pre-market volume. These are the two important things that we need. So how do you bring up the important things over here? Click on this three dot over here, all right? Then type pre-market. You just need to type a few letters. You will see the things you want is actually appearing. So just check this, right? Check this. And then you also need the volume. So you just go down a little bit. You see, when you see the pre-market volume, check this, all right? Now, once you check this, you can see that, you can see that this thing appear, towards the rightmost. So I want to bring it forward. So I just drag and shift it here, right? So again, press and drag and shift it here, right? So the rest of the information I don't need, right? The rest of the information I don't need, right? So I just need this, okay? By the way, there's one more indicators I will add it over here, right? Right, just let me minimize. Yeah, just not forgot to cover. Okay, so for TradingView, for thinkorswim, you can add the indicators over here, right, to see what is the ATR, which is the roughly the average true range. But in TradingView, it's actually given to you in a form of an indicator, right? So what you can do, right, is that you can click on indicators. You can just type ATR, right, which is the ATR that we want, the average true range. Click on that. Right, you can see there's a line over here. So for me, I will have one more line over here on the daily chart, so that when I'm trading, I know roughly what is the rough range that this stock will move for the day. Because how much the stock can move will be very important, right? You want your target to be well within the range. I should just sidetrack a little bit. So let's come back to the screening of the charts. All right. So now we have bring forward the pre-market change. We have bring forward the pre-market volume. So what I'll do is I'll do one more thing, right? Is that number one is okay, you will go to the filter over here. All right, go to the filter over here and look at the symbol tab, right? So I will uncheck the the depository receipts. I will only have common stocks and ETF over here. All right, and after that, proceed. Okay, that's one thing. That's for the filter. Now the next thing is I want the price to be at least above $1. So I want you to select here. When you mouse over here, you will see there's something appearing here. Click on this. All right, click on this. Right, this one, click as above. All right, and then type 1. So when I'm building up my long watches, I don't mind trading penny stocks, but I also prefer this price to be at least more than $1. All right, so that is it. Right, then after that, once I adjust everything, okay, it's all set. Right, then I will rank based on the percentage gains to build my long watches. So I'll basically go all the way, focus on those things. Then I will click. So once they say I want to take a look at this, then I click. Right, when you click, then you will see the chart change. And the beauty about the TradingView, right? Remember in thinkorswim, we will see the location of where it is on the daily chart by mousing over to the pre-market chart, right? But in TradingView, near the market open, you will see another line which is called pre-market. So you will actually know exactly where the price is on the daily chart because there will be another line called pre-market, right? That is how simple things can be. So basically, I'll just go through one by one. All right. So let's say we go through and then we find this let's say this one looks really ugly. All right. So let's say we find this stock and we find this is a nice gap. Right. So for example, let's say it's a nice gap. You want to add it to your watch list. So usually what I'll do is if I'm building the long watch list, since when you add, right, the sticker will always appear at the bottom. So I will just bring it down. And then when I see that, okay, VYX, it looks very good, I will add it to my watch list. So I will just press the short key, right, or the shortcut. So I will just, for Apple, is Option plus W. So I'll just Option plus W. You can see that this one is here. So basically, I'll do the same for the rest of the stocks. And once the long watch list is done, right, then I will click here again to rank based on the percentage loss, right? And but when I do the building up my short watch list, I will change this. I don't want to show anything that is just $1, $5. So this one I'll be more strict. I will change it to 25. So I want to look at stocks that price is more than 25, right? When it comes to building up the short watch list. Okay. Now I will also shift this down so that when I add the stock here, you can see, let's say I want to add NVDL, right? Say press Option W, right? You can see it appear here, right? And they say once I am, so that's how I, build out the watches doing the scanning over here, right? So, and they say once I see something I really like and I place my order and order is filled, then I will shift it here to open positions. So I know that, okay, these are the trades that I have taken for the day, right? So I basically, separate things. All right. So these are the things that, I want to cover. Now, one last thing is the trick, right? So you see, this one only allows you to have 4 charts, right? Some of you probably you will only go for the plus tier, which is 4 charts, or some of you might go for the first tier, which is 2 charts, right? Both are fine, right? Both are fine. So, but one more tip, by the way, when you are trading, right, you can also minimize this drawing pane so that everything you display is the chart. So now I'm going to show you the tip. Remember, when it comes to stock trading, there's one more thing that is missing, which is the relative strength and relative weakness. We want to see how the market is doing so that, we can tell whether this thing has relative strength or weakness. So this is something that you can do, all right? So you see over here, there is an option, right? This is the button over here. If you click on that, you will actually, how come it didn't pop up? But anyway, let me, yeah, it's pop up. Yeah, so okay, let me do that one more time. So if you click on that, right, there will be a different screen that pop up, right? You can see over here, it's a separate screen. And so I created a different chart like this. Okay, so basically what I did is that instead of displaying everything in one chart, right, I create a separate window. And this window is for, so basically I don't need this anymore. So I uncheck this so that I only see the chart. I create a separate window whereby in this separate window, right, you can see that this one I chose a 2x2 and I didn't link the symbol because I don't need them to link. I just want to display SPY and QQQ. So this is how I said, right? And then with this, you can see that now on the screen, I can have multiple charts. Like even if yours, right, is only 2x2, you can have 6 charts, right? You don't need 8x8. And now this is basically, you see, this is basically what I will see when I'm trading. I will have, the market over here, right here. I will have this thing over here. So if you recall what I shared with you in both the Facebook group and also in the workshop, this is the setting of our TradingView, right? So the market is there. And when I change the symbols, this thing will not change because it's not synced. This two will remain there, and while I was watching my entry time frame, I will pay attention to how the market is moving so that I can tell what is the relative strength and weakness, right? So if yours, right, is you go for the first tier, right, which is 1 by 1, right, then you can have like separate this into 2 windows. But of course, there will be one small issue is that when you change one ticker, right, because only 2 will be linked, then you need to type again for the next one, right? So that is the only small issue that you might face. So I would say that given that, right, for the 2x2 one, which is the plus version, use the recommended version so that at least you can have the essential windows for yourself, and so it can give you enough information when it comes to trading, right? But if really budget is a concern, then you can go for the first tier, right? So that is all about the setup of the TradingView. I hope you enjoy this video. I will see you in the next video.